All right, we're back. We'll start here. Give people a couple of minutes. It may have been the particular song that was on. I don't know. Maybe it was too popping. Maybe that song was a bit too much of a red light for the algorithm. I don't know. But it's all good. I'll sit here, sip my coffee for a second. Yes. No, I think what happened is YouTube. I think YouTube just shut the stream down. It must have been whatever the song was that I was playing. That must have been it. That's what I'm thinking it was. Because after a while, it just had it like messed up over here. But it's all good. We back, and again, we're starting off with Virginia admitting to thousands. Oh, got a good notification. Got a call tomorrow. Tomorrow at 1 o'clock, I got a call. All right. Virginia election officials wrongly removed almost 3,400 eligible voters from the state's voter rolls, a significant error that has caused alarm among voting rights groups just days before critical state elections that will determine which party controls the state legislature. Officials announced the number of voters affected by the purge on Friday, more than 10 times the number of people they had initially said were affected. Macaulay Porter, a spokesperson for the government, Glenn Youngkin, excuse me, Glenn Youngkin had told the Washington Post on October 6th that at least 270 people had been wrongly removed and that officials didn't expect that number to rise much. Officials declined to provide updates on the number affected until Friday, when they announced that the actual number was nearly 3,400. All of the people who were removed had a prior felony conviction, but had their rights restored by the governor. Virginia has long stripped anyone convicted of a felony of their voting rights and is one of three states that gives the governor the sole authority to restore them. Nearly 102,000 people can't vote in Virginia because of a felony conviction, according to an estimate by the Sentencing Project, a criminal justice nonprofit. Nearly two-thirds of those are on probation. That's a lot of people who are just like, and that's one state. That's just in Virginia. Right. Whoops. Accidentally got rid of 3,500, well, 3,400 people. And again, nearly 102,000 people in one state. That's a lot of people who are disbarred, banned from being able to vote. And I don't know what all their felony convictions are. That's a whole discussion in and of itself. It'll be a really interesting topic to really dive into. What must one do? What kind of crimes are we talking before it's like, nah, you shouldn't be able to vote? That's a really interesting discussion because I mean, there's just so much there, and often, yeah, we should definitely talk about that. I know me and Ravana are set to talk about alternatives to incarceration. Yeah, that'll make for a good discussion. And again, it says nearly two-thirds of these people are on probation. Earlier this year, Virginia announced it had identified 10,558 people who had had their rights restored, but had subsequently committed a new felony. The data wasn't accurate. The Virginia State Police, which had been supplying the data to the state, had been wrongly flagging people as having committed a new felony if they have received a technical violation of their probation. Something like failing to show up for a meeting or failing a urine test. Hey. Oh yeah, Dion, we good. It's all good. Don't even worry about it. We straight. All right. Tonya Jones, 59, lives in Highland Springs, near Richmond. The letter saying she had been removed from the rolls because of a new felony conviction. Jones thought the letter was a trick because she had been regularly voting since getting her rights restored in 2019 and had even served jury duty. She had been convicted of a drug possession felony in 2017 or 2018, but completed drug court and hadn't had any new convictions. When early voting began this fall, she tried to cast a ballot and was told her name wasn't on the rolls. I was very upset because I knew that my rights were restored. And y'all, yeah, so you go through that, and then you find out when you're trying to when you're actually trying to vote and you end up finding out that way. That's super inconvenient and frustrating. My life has turned around and I'm like, what in the world are they talking about? She called two of the numbers that were on the notice she had received. She couldn't get through to anyone at the first number, she said. And the second person advised her to start the process of getting her voting rights restored again. She said she finally spoke with someone at the state police who said she had been wrongfully removed and helped her get back on the rolls. Well, good thing she could get back on the rolls, but I mean, with only a couple of days until the elections, on the 7th, a lot of those people they're not going to be um back on the voter rolls. They're just, it's not enough time for all of them. Of course not. I know that people have been literally put in handcuffs for trying to vote. I've had enough handcuffs in my life. I didn't want to have that experience again. And again, is that's primarily what we'll be focusing on, especially next year. With the election year, will be us as a group, us as a community will be focused on voter registration, educating people on who's running. Obviously, not just like federally, but what they can take advantage of right in their backyards. All right. Excuse me. RFK Jr. reeling in more donors from Trump than Biden. Robert F. Kennedy is raising more cash from former Donald Trump donors than he is from previous Joe Biden contributors, according to Politico. The outlet's analysis of RFK Jr.'s campaign finance records aligns with limited polling data, indicating that his independent bid for the White House could attract more Republican leaning voters than Democrats. More than 500 of Kennedy's biggest donors supported Trump in 2020, which is more than triple the number who contributed to Biden 3 years ago. The records also show that most of the $10 million that Kennedy raised from large dollar donors through September 30th came from contributors who didn't make any federal donations during the last two presidential elections, suggesting he could be attracting people who feel alienated from what both the Democrats and Republicans have offered the electorate since 2020. Yeah. MAGA. Yes, yes, indeed. What's going on, Sawima? We got Soul Life in the building as well. All right, what we gonna do now? Hmm. Puddin' Boy. We don't see much of him anymore. But it's still fun. It's always fun. She's gaining, you're not. Fox's Cavuto confronts DeSantis about Nikki Haley's surge in the polls.
I only ask you that in the context of the 24 race, Governor, because Nikki Haley has emerged as a strong polling favorite. She's tied with you in Iowa. And that has come really following her very tough talk on not only supporting Israel and Ukraine, but backing them both up with the money they need and not debating the issue now. Do you fear you're kind of threading the needle on this is hurting you? That she's clear, you're not. She's gaining, you're not. She's seen as an acceptable number two to Donald Trump, you're not.
Well, actually, I've been much clearer on Israel. I mean, I said from the beginning, no Gaza refugees. She said that America has been able to separate terrorists from freedom fighters, and that's what we have to do. Now, she backtracked on that, but I've been very clear, no refugees. I've also been very clear, canceling student visas for pro-Hamas demonstrators. I've also been very clear, no taxpayer money to Hamas. They say it's humanitarian assistance, but the reality is Hamas will commandeer that, and they will use that to advance terrorism, which what they've been doing for over a decade. So we've been leading on all those issues. We've been standing very strong for the U.S.-Israel relationship, and we've really kind of set the debate, I think, in a way that's been very productive, and other candidates have had to follow suit from what we've said. Now, her position on basically a blank check for Ukraine, that is not popular with Republican voters. The federal government has borrowed money to send to pay the salaries of Ukrainian bureaucrats, the pension for Ukrainian bureaucrats. And actually, if you look at Israel, 75 years of a friendship, we've done about $158 billion over 75 years. U.S. just in the last year and a half, 2 years, has done 125 billion. So those are definitely different issues. And I think that voters see.
Yo, remember a couple months ago when we was thinking like, if Ron DeSantis does drop out, it wouldn't be surprising at all. Because I mean, at the end of the day, it's not even just how much can somebody take, but like after a while, you're just wasting your time. And Ron DeSantis is doing so badly that people aren't even really talking about him anymore. I mean, here and there they are, but what I'm getting at is he's not like at the forefront of discussion. So, I mean, what's the point?
Them differently. And that's the thing, as the president, as commander in chief, you have to be able to take each issue as you find it. Now, you can't have a one size fits all solution to everything. So we've been right on Israel, leading the way on that, and we'll continue to do that and stand strong.
So when it comes to Ukraine, just to be clear, Governor, Putin might be a big threat, but for Israel right now, what they're going through is a bigger threat. And that's where you draw the line, and on the money that is spent in that regard.
Well, what I would say this, Neil, is Israel is one of our strongest allies. We have a unique relationship with them. I think we have a lot of allies in Europe who have an interest in the Russia-Ukraine. I think Europe needs to do more. Some countries like Poland have done a lot, but others have lagged. So I just think the relationships are different in terms of that. And our relationship with Israel has really been one of the strongest relationships that we've had. That's a little bit different, of course, than what is going on.
And if Donald Trump wasn't so, if he wasn't so caught up in everything that's going on right now with all these trials, then he probably would already be talking about it. But now DeSantis is just doing too poorly for him to even think about it, I guess.
On in Europe right now. But one thing that Biden could do that would be helpful in both of these conflicts, well, two things. One, energy production here at home. When we're energy dominant, that's bad for Russia, Iran, and China. When we do a Green New Deal, that benefits Russia. It benefits Iran. It benefits China. The other thing he can do is start to get more serious about the Indo-Pacific. China's really getting a free ride right now. I think they love what's happening around the world, and it gives them the ability to pursue their interests in a way that U.S. deterrence probably isn't where it needs to be.
He's so boring. And luckily, that's keeping him from doing well in the presidential race. He's just really not that dude. He's just really not that dude. World reacts to horrible Brett Favre announcement. They cannot support a defamation claim as a matter of law. All right, what's up? What's up? Back in February, former NFL star quarterback Brett Favre filed a defamation lawsuit against sports media personality Shannon Sharpe for comments Shannon made about Favre's alleged involvement in a Mississippi welfare fraud scandal. But now that lawsuit has been dismissed. Didn't he? I don't remember exactly what it was, but basically, like he's Brett Favre swindled like millions of dollars out of the welfare system, if I'm not mistaken. And the lawsuit was, under the no reasonable person listening to the broadcast would think that Favre actually went into the homes of poor people and took their money. You don't need to do that. He don't need to go into their homes. He can be much more sophisticated. And these are random tweets now. Friendly reminder, Brett Favre still sucks. New, a federal judge has dismissed the defamation lawsuit Brett Favre filed against Shannon Sharpe in February over Sharpe's comments about Favre's alleged ties to the Mississippi welfare scandal. It says, the context in which Sharp's remarks were made, including the tenor of the broadcast as a whole, the format of the program and its audience, and the fact that viewers were told Favre was not charged with the crime, forecloses Favre's claim that a reasonable viewer would have thought Sharp was actually accusing him of committing larceny. Well, Brett Favre, looks like you're not out of hot water just yet. Looks like you're not in the clear just yet. You still got a ways to navigate. You still got a ways to go. Right, he might as well have just knocked on their door, kicked it in, and just went to their safe, took their mattresses, and just stole all their cash. Biden to nominate 5 judges in states with Republican senators. President Joe Biden announced 5 new U.S. trial court nominees to serve in Florida and South Carolina as the White House continues to negotiate with Republican senators about filling a large number of red state vacancies. The nominees include 4 U.S. magistrate judges and a former federal prosecutor turned in-house counsel. Resumes that are common among Biden nominees backed by Republican home state senators rather than the more non-traditional ones favored by progressive advocates. The nominees are Jacqueline Austin, a U.S. magistrate judge in the District of South Carolina since 2011, a seat on that court along with U.S. magistrate. Jacqueline Becerra, a magistrate judge in the Southern District of Florida since 2019, to a seat on that court. Melissa Damian, a magistrate judge since 2022 in the Southern District of Florida. David Leibowitz, corporate counsel for Brahman Management Association and a former assistant U.S. attorney in Florida. And Julie Sneed, magistrate judge in the Middle District of Florida since 2015. There you go. 5 new judges in South Carolina and Florida are to be nominated. All right. Trump attorney says ex-president going to jail is not even something we think about. Of course it is. How could it not be something that you think about?
Talk about the gag orders real quick, because these things are just absolutely whack to me.
Yeah.
He's campaigning for president of the United States again, and they're putting gag orders on him to what he can and can't say about a trial that is actually fueling his campaign, raising millions of dollars on it. How is this? Could they even possibly throw him in jail? What would that look like?
He's protected by Secret Service,
Sure.
Period. So I always tell people when they're panicked, listen, he's protected by Secret Service, number one. Number two, he did nothing wrong. So when people go to jail, it's because they've done something wrong. Yep. Do we have crooked situations in and out of court? Absolutely. Could they try? Probably, but it won't work because there is still trial process. There is still facts, and unfortunately, they're not going to win on the facts. Secret Service will always protect President Trump. That's the truth. They have to, wherever he is. But it's not even something we think about, to be honest, because this is all political. It's really not. There's no criminal acts that he's done. There's no civil wrongs that he's done, unless making money for banks is a civil wrong all of a sudden.
Orange man bad. I mean, that's the
terrible.
crime.
It's Trump derangement syndrome at its best. I'm not worried about him. He's not worried, and the American public shouldn't be worried. Yeah. He's succeeding for a reason.
Yeah, I will dare this judge to try to throw him in jail.
Yeah, First Amendment. Yeah. First Amendment is a thing.
It is a thing. All right, Alina Habba, appreciate you being here very much.
Thank you.
Huh? Okay. I mean, wouldn't you think that not thinking about going to prison when you're potentially going to go to prison is a problem? That doesn't make for a very convincing legal defense. We're not even considering it. We're not even thinking about it. All right, so now we got my man's Donald Trump, because he has to do everything. Hold on. Oh, we got videos. Hold up. It's time to go to Truth Social. Hold up. It's time to go and listen to the man himself.
These highly political Biden lawsuits and indictments shouldn't be allowed to start until after the election is over. Who would ever think a thing like this would be allowed to start? We actually have one judge.
He's such a stupid, ridiculous baby. He's such, and again, like, listen, right? Yeah. If something is happening, it really isn't worth much to say, this shouldn't be happening, especially if it's because of you. You know what I mean? Like, when you grow up, because Donald Trump's a 78-year-old, 7-year-old, but when you grow up, you have to deal with reality. Like, for instance, I'm a contractor, right? And there have been plenty of times where I was making great money, plenty of money. But then my contract gets cut for not bad reasons necessarily. Maybe I'm making less money now because programming changed, or because, it's a business, so they just got to pay people less. Now I'm making less money. So, I could sit here and be like, they should still pay me more. I liked it better when I was making more money. Yeah, but I'm not making more money. So what am I going to do about it? Am I going to go get another job? Am I going to cut back on my expenses? How am I going to address the reality of the situation that I'm in? But no. A man who was president and a man who wants to be president again is sitting here saying this shouldn't be allowed to happen until after. Like, okay, because you say so, but you also, he's just such a ridiculous baby.
He's highly
He's
political.
so weak. Like, nothing about him is strong.
These
Nothing.
highly political Biden lawsuits and indictments shouldn't be allowed to start until after the election is over. Who would ever think a thing like this would be allowed to start? We actually have one judge that wants the lawsuit to start the day before Super Tuesday. These are corrupt people.
It's so unfair. It's still, bruh, but if you innocent, and again, like, throughout this whole tirade, he hasn't said a word about him actually being innocent. He said they should have just waited until after all of this was done, until after election Tuesday. Like, I mean, like, why? You shouldn't have done the things that you did.
Our founding fathers are looking down at Biden with scorn right now. They're looking down on Biden and this.
Hold up, Fritz, thank you so much for the 5 gifted memberships. Hold up, we got Allegra who just got another membership. We got G Martinez. We got Brandy who picked up the membership. We got DJ BT who picked up the membership. We got Flaw Dragon who picked up the membership. Thank you so much, Fritz, for everything that you do, for all your continued support, belief, and encouragement. And thank you so much, everybody, for everything that y'all do as well. We having a good time, man. We're going to have to take a smoke to that. You already know. But we're going to have to take a smoke without the music playing because YouTube already shut us down once today. So we're not going to do that. We're not going to risk that again until at least the end. But thank you, Fritz, so much for the 5 gifted memberships. And thank you, everybody. But again, it's like, bro, like I'll ask you again. Who is going to want to be a part of this man's general election campaign? Who? Nobody wants to be a part of his defense because he doesn't pay people and because it's just such a bad look at this point. Who's really gonna, bro? He's gonna get the bottom of the barrel for everyone who works on his election campaign with him. His general election campaign is going to be a bottom of the barrel scrub. He's gonna have a bunch of scrubs on his general election squad. Like, bro, listen to this dude. It's still unfair.
These highly political Biden lawsuits and indictments shouldn't be allowed to start until after the election is over. Who would ever think a thing like this would be allowed to start? We actually have one judge that wants the lawsuit to start the day before Super Tuesday. These are corrupt people. Our founding fathers are looking down at Biden with scorn right now. They're looking down on Biden and this administration with.
First and foremost, no, they're not. No, they're not. It's so stupid when people say stuff like this because how do you know what they're doing? First and foremost, that's not happening. But also, it's so corny. The founding fathers are looking down at Joe Biden.
Disbelief. We're going to make America great again. We're going to put America first, and we're going to have a great country. It's going to be called the United States of America. Thank you very much.
We're going to have a great country. It's going to be called the same thing that the country's already called. It's going to have the exact same name as it already does. It's going to be called the United States of America.
Right. Like, don't nobody care. Like the founding fathers. And again, why are you speaking for them? Like, I know what they're doing. The founding fathers are looking down at Joe Biden, but they're not looking down on Donald Trump. I just clicked on his page. We on Trump's page right now. $40,000 for the big guy, but not $2 billion for your nephew, for your son-in-law rather. To all my friends in Mississippi.
All my friends in Mississippi, you have a choice to make. Your great governor, Tate Reeves, is under attack. The radical left maniacs who are attacking me are also after him. These bad people, and they are bad, want to defeat Tate Reeves because he's a fighter. He's done a fantastic job on the border. He's tough on crime, and he loves America. I'm asking you to make time to vote. Go out and find that time. You got to vote for Governor Tate Reeves. He has been a fantastic governor, and he has my total and complete endorsement.
$40,000 to the big guy.
President Donald Trump. Oh, this is the dude who was a Democrat and then he turned into a Republican because Donald Trump. 5 hours ago. He said this 5 hours ago. Oh my goodness. He said this at 8:20. He was tweeting at like 4 a.m. this morning, and this is from 8. So, bro, he doesn't sleep. He doesn't sleep. Like, he really doesn't. Like,
We won against Ngoran in the appeals court, knocking out a big part of the case. But he then refused to accept their decision. He just said no. He is often overturned. One of the most and couldn't care less. I don't believe we even won a single motion during this entire excursion into the wilderness of crazy. The state won 100% of their.
okay, so you're getting your ass. So we won, but we're losing. Like, bro, just shut up. Like, and again, he's technically allowed to criticize Judge Ngoran, so he is. Like, bro, like Judge Ngoran is a political hack who ruled against me before the trial even started. Bro, this guy he's incredible. This man is incredible. Oh my God. Yeah, but see, bro, here's your problem. The presidential elections aren't being held today. They're being held in a year. They're being held a year from tomorrow. I mean, no, the 7th. So we still got about a year and a week. A year and a week away. It's not today. That's your problem, bro. Man, this dude is crazy. I've never actually been on his page like this, but look at how obsessive he is. Like, bro, his whole life is online memes. That's like literally his whole life, and trying desperately to stay out of prison. But shit, we got to get Donald Trump back in office because he's gonna make USA 2.0. He's gonna make another country, and it's gonna be called the United States of America. This dude, man. And like, bruh, like Joe Biden's gonna be able to just sleepwalk his way through the general election campaign, just like he did last time. Like, bruh, Donald Trump, it doesn't even talk about the issues. All he does is talk about himself. And him in another general election oh, come on, man. This, bro, Donald Trump's general election campaign is going to be horrible. It's going to be terrible. One, because he is a complete mess. And while he's campaigning, he's going to be dealing with all these federal court cases. He's out of his mind. And nobody who's worth a damn wants anything to do with him. Bro, Donald Trump's general election campaign is going to be horrible. All right, let's see Lindsay. What's up with Lindsay?
Party. Now, why am I with Trump? I like both Nikki and Tim. I believe if Trump were president, none of this would be going on. If he gets to be president in 2025, this will end pretty quickly. Whether you like Trump or not, there was order in the world that's been lost.
Well, Trump just recently said that he thought Hezbollah was smart. I mean, should someone who said something like that be president of the United States?
Yeah, well, he killed Soleimani, and I don't think Hezbollah is smart. But
he said that.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, if he were president of the United States, Hamas would not have attacked Israel. I really believe that. Putin wasn't in Ukraine because they're afraid of the guy. Nobody's afraid of Biden. A lot of people are afraid of Trump.
Senator Graham.
You know what? You know what's so intriguing about this comment, So Life? It's not even that it's true. It's that's how hollow and empty Donald Trump's the idea of Donald Trump as president is. It's that hollow that if all he would have gotten was a contract renewal for something like this, none of this ever would have happened. Bro, Donald Trump has zero political aspirations. None. Now, the only reason that he's running for president is so that he can stay out of prison. Like, bro, like this dude, they should have just renewed this man's contract and everything would have been fine. Everything would have been just fine, man. Look at what we've done. Look at what we've done. Donald Trump brutally mocked for unhinged social media rant at 4 a.m. A menace to society. Hold on, y'all. We gotta find a few more things to go over today. Because earlier the stream got cut off a little bit. We got to find a few more things. I'm going to be finding it while we play the next thing. Hold up. Let's see. Help me find some new topics. Because a whole lot of this is just the same stuff that I'm looking at. Okay, we got Nancy Mace. I gotta pull something up from Nancy Mace. Hold on, yeah. I'm just picking things up a little bit one at a time. Oh, and we got Sigourney in the building. What's going on? And a whole lot of Halloween stuff. That's what a whole lot of stuff like that is in the news cycle. You know what I'm saying? Just a whole bunch of people's Halloween costumes and stuff, which we may need to review. We may need to do some Halloween costume reviews. Donald Trump went on a social media rampage on Monday, October 30th. First around 1 Hold on. We must have already went over this. Yeah, we already went over this the other day, unless these are new ones. Does he sleep at night? Bro, I'm telling you, bro, Donald Trump doesn't sleep. And he old. Donald Trump is almost 80. You feel me? So it's not like he's some young man who has the energy reserves to make up for this. Bro, I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. Donald Trump is going to run one of the worst general election campaigns anybody has ever seen before, bro. I'm telling you. 2 a.m. Leave my children alone. Oh God, look at all this. Now I gotta bust out the Trump voice.
Letitia James before Trump and developer hating judge. Arthur and Gorin, which should never have been brought,
What do you say?
should never have been brought,
What?
in that the so-called star witness sleazebag lawyer for many people, Michael Cohen, admitted last week on the stand that he lied, and also that your favorite president, Donald J. Trump, or anyone from the Trump organization, never told him to inflate values on financial statements. The opposite of what he told the Attorney General in order to get his hoax started. Therefore, on that fact alone, this fake case should be dismissed.
No, that's. Oh, hold on. I'm reading it for you. You can't see it, but I mean, like, I'm just reading it, so it's all good that I don't have it picked up. Y'all still can use y'all imaginations here. This is what I've been reading. This dude. Uh, okay, hold on. Let's see. But that's not what happened. That's not what happened. Cohen said that's not how it happened. Cohen didn't say that he lied. Cohen went in and said how it actually went down. He said that Donald Trump would say, I'm worth about 8 billion. I'm worth about 10 billion. Go figure it out. And then they go figure it out. Additionally, however,
The financial statement values are conservative low. Mar-a-Lago is worth much more than $18 million.
oh, here he's still going with this. Mar-a-Lago being $18 million, even though that's what you claimed.
There's a 100% disclaimer clause on the first page of the statements. The banks and insurance companies were paid in full. No defaults. They all made money and there is no victim.
Except me. What a weak, pathetic loser.
There's no victim except for me.
Bro, this dude, Donald Trump, is about to lose to a man who doesn't even need to campaign against him. Like, bro, like this dude, he is so just. Hold on. We got another thing for Nancy Mace coming up. Uh Hold on, what'd you say? You said Shalom Rastafari episode 223 up. What? Hold on, yeah, I'm trying to. Oh, we got Ohio. We got Ohio. Abortion rights are on the ballot on election day, which is a few days away. So we're gonna be going. We're gonna talk about that in a sec. Hold on, just give me a sec, y'all. Jaya Paul's sister is running for a seat in Oregon. It looks like we about to check that out. Yeah, no, this really is. This election matchup is like it's. I mean, but ultimately, like it just seemed like every presidential election, and I mean, I'm 31, so I'm only saying that to say, like, I feel like I've seen enough presidential elections now to realize that every presidential election, people act like so much change it is on the ballot. Like, and you know, obviously, you got Republicans who want to actively, you know, who already have reversed Roe v. Wade. You got Republicans passing 6-week abortion bans, making it harder for people to vote, stuff like that. Obviously, there are differences between Republicans and Democrats, but like, it's pretty much the same old shit. It's Democrats versus the insane, ridiculous Republicans. Like, that's all it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, and there's just so much more opportunity in local elections. But after this election, 2028 is going to be wide open. There's going to be so many people that we've never heard of, never seen before, or people that we know now, but they still, you know, they got about 5 years um until it'll be time for them to get up. So here I've been sending a couple more stories to myself. But yeah, no, this election really is just I mean it's 2020 all over again, except Donald Trump has 91 felony charges. It's the same thing all over again. All right, here we go. Let me open up these stories real quick, y'all. And we still got to take a hit to celebrate those 5 gifted memberships from Fritza. All right, let's go to Nancy Mace. Then we're going to go to George Santos for the Oregon. No, right. No, facts. There's no victim except me. That's his campaign slogan. That's his campaign slogan. Vote to expel George Santos. Nah, first we're gonna go over this Nancy Mace, like I said. Nancy Mace's defense of Trump sparks jeers from Daily Show audience. Because, like, look, listen, at the end of the day, if Trump can ever not talk about himself, then what does he have to say? Like,
When I was in office, we had record-breaking. We had the best economy in history. Record-breaking job numbers.
but Biden, there's more jobs under Biden, and the economy's better under Biden overall. So, like, obviously, the real economy is the same that it's been in terms of people not being able to, afford just basic living costs. That hasn't changed. Basically, what I'm getting at is nothing Donald Trump says. His presidency wasn't better than Biden's 4 years. It wasn't. It was not. And he's got all these problems. So it's just like, it's just a sleepy, boring ass presidential race. That's all it is. And it is what it is. Nancy Mace's defense of Trump sparks jeers from Daily Show audience. Oh, they're not going to show. Okay, here we go.
Happy to have you here.
It's an honor. Your first night debut hosting
Yes.
The Daily Show. It's awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Fun fact, me and Nancy went to the same high school,
Yes.
Stratford High School, and our mothers taught at Stratford High School at the same time.
The same time, and
Yes.
we both.
Nancy dropped out.
I dropped out before you did.
I got kicked out.
You got kicked out.
I got kicked out.
So
that was the second high school I got kicked out of in South Carolina.
I was a trailblazer. I did it before you.
That's right.
That's right.
So are we like the poster children for how much high school sucks and you don't really need it?
Yeah, and how we shouldn't have been successful. Like you and I, to be on the stage tonight, to be doing the Daily Show out of basically the same stoplight in South Carolina.
That's right.
We were that close. We're the same age, and we both dropped out or got kicked out of high school. To be here tonight together is a huge testament to hard work and to values. It's amazing. We should not be where we are today.
Should we say something?
Yeah.
That's true. That is true. But should we say something about being pro high school? I don't want kids to just drop out.
And two, like, Biden's approval is going to go down and up until the general election for a variety of reasons. But Biden's approval taking a hit because of what's going on in Israel, like, people may be upset about that, but that's not going to stop voters who vote. Not, there's a different, people who scream online but never vote, they never vote anyway. So them not voting for Biden really doesn't matter because they don't vote anyway. It's always funny to me, like, people who think, I never vote and I'm not going to vote this time either. Like, it's not a loss. You never vote anyway. You don't participate in the process. You see what I'm saying? But people who actually vote aren't going to not go to the polls because of what's happening overseas. They're going to go to the polls because they want healthcare and education and food on the table. You see what I'm saying? Like, at the end of the day, it's going to come down between Biden and Trump. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's all it is. Like, so all the people who are most passionate about that issue don't be voting anyway. You know what I'm saying? And interestingly enough, that's one of the progressive movement's biggest problem is so many progressives don't vote. Like, we need to continue to push our own candidates. We need to get better candidates in office. And that can't happen if we don't vote. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can sit around complaining. We can sit around complaining about motherfuckers until we die. But if we don't put better people in office, then we just whining and bitching and complaining. You know what I'm saying? So it's just interesting. Like, and I don't think progressives really realize that. Like, do y'all realize how many of us don't vote? You feel me? So it's like, we'd be like, I'm not going to show up to the polls. Nobody gives a fuck. We never show up to the polls anyway. So, like, I'm telling you, bro, like, we have to do better. And voting is step one. We got to fucking show up to the polls, because there's more elections than just who's going to be president. There's way more elections than that.
No, I don't want my kids dropping out of high school. I don't want your kids dropping out of high school. You got to get your high school diploma, and if you get your high school diploma, your kids are more likely to get theirs too. But it's a testament to whether it's divine intervention, divine attraction. It's a testament to hard work, a little bit of good luck.
That's right.
But it's a huge honor to be here and to do this. It's just,
happy to have you.
It's awesome. Yeah.
And you know,
Love this guy. Love him. Yeah.
the first time we met was backstage at a Dave Chappelle and Chris Rock comedy show in North Charleston, South Carolina.
Yep.
And somebody snapped this
Like,
picture.
I be feeling like progressives like oftentimes want the Democratic Party to lose more than we want to win. You feel me? Like, it'll be like, well, we didn't get everything we wanted, so let's just let the whole place crumble to the ground to spite the Democrats. And it's just like, again, it's just, man, progressives are like the most unorganized political group in the country, bro. Like, it's really incredible. And the right wing, they show up to the polls. They get like, bro, it's amazing. You feel me? Like, and I'm speaking about myself too. It's not like I'm sitting here saying this about everybody else. I'm absolutely a part of this group. I'm absolutely a part of this group. You feel me? But it's like the progressives would be like, let's make everything worse because we didn't get everything we wanted. That shit is dead, bruh. And I'm gonna keep criticizing progressives because it's my team. You feel me? I'm gonna keep saying shit like this because it's real. Like, progressives are delusional. Like, this, so many people in this movement are fucking delusional, man. Like,
And when I walked back there, y'all was in like a heated debate, kind of.
Yeah, we were drinking tequila. There was tequila involved. Did you partake in the tequila?
I did have some tequila.
We were doing shots of tequila, for better or worse, and we had a political debate. And basically, from my recollection, is that Dave Chappelle's message was that Republicans need to read the room. And my message is every politician, Democrat or Republican, need to read the room because they aren't paying attention to the people. And the people are the ones that elected them to office. And that's what we have to be doing.
I've seen
today.
a few articles saying she's a likely Trump VP candidate, but we'll see. We'll see about that.
Did you feel like prejudged in a way just because you were introduced as a conservative, so he just automatically assumed, you know, what you were about?
A little bit.
Oh yeah, you in California. California gonna go to Biden no matter what. And so is the state I'm in. I'm in Jersey. It's gonna go to Biden no matter what.
Okay. And I'm not your typical Republican. I would say not typical conservative, because when I agree with my party, I support them. When I disagree, I call my party out, and I do it over and over and over again. I would say I have a different flavor of republicanism.
Yeah, you've been described as someone who swings repeatedly between a Trump-centric conservative and an establishment-bucking centrist. And like you said, you speak out against GOP leadership, but you do vote with the GOP on a majority of issues. So people do want to know, who are you? Who is Nancy?
I would like to think of myself more as a maverick, right? So when I'm with my party, I support them, I'll vote with them, and then I call them out when I disagree. And sometimes it's when I vehemently disagree. I mean, I just booted out the old speaker and got a new speaker in because I felt like the former speaker wasn't the right leader for our country and wanted to make a difference in the lives of everybody that we represent. And I buck the party line a lot when it's the right thing to do. And I come from a very independent-leaning district. It's not the same low country that you and I grew up in. It's very purple. It's very, I would almost say, small L libertarian. There are Democrats, Republicans, and a lot more independents than anybody else. People that are disaffected by the Republican Party and Democrat Party, they created the majority of the district, very independent-minded.
I saw, you did vote against, you voted to get Kevin McCarthy out, but the GOP said that they got it out for you now. I think I
bet they do. Yeah. And folks can go to nancymace.org and support me because they are coming after me. I got one of the insiders, one of the establishment insiders, booted out of the speaker's office and got someone who's not bought and paid for by Washington. I voted with the people on that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
How do you feel about that vote now that the one piece of government Republicans control is in disarray?
Well, I would say we're in disarray because Republicans and Democrats alike put us in disarray. I mean, look, our nation has
Oh, Mike, you can make that decision. You can make that decision if you like, but most people who vote aren't. They're not going to be thinking about wars overseas. They're going to be thinking about I can't pay my bills and stuff like that. Like most people, and if for the, I'm just speaking the truth, man. Most people who vote don't care about that shit for real because it doesn't impact them. Not really.
$33 trillion in debt. And it's not just Democrats or Republicans, it's both parties. We're in this mess today, and you're looking at our military. We're spread thin throughout the world, and Israel has all these issues. We've got Ukraine, all these things, and our allies are counting on us, and we can't because of our economic and financial situation that was created by both parties. So my anger and my frustrations, like a lot of people, is that it's the fault of both sides today, not one or the other. Both sides are at fault, and they need to take responsibility for it.
Will Mike Johnson have any real power? Because Kevin McCarthy had none.
Well, I would say that Kevin McCarthy. We've got a guy today who is going to be honest. He's going to be trustworthy, and he's going to tell the truth. And I would much rather have a guy that I might. Yes, he's gonna trust me. I'd rather have a guy that I might sometimes vehemently disagree with, but is going to be trustworthy with me. And I'll tell you one thing that I will share with the other guy, the former speaker. Yes was maybe, and maybe was no. I learned the hard way on that. And last week we had a couple candidate forums, and I asked all the candidates, what is their message to American women? Because women's issues has been an issue.
What's she gonna say about this? This now Meg get a little. What's she actually gonna say?
That's very near and dear to my heart. And Mike Johnson was the only guy that came up to me afterwards and admitted that, hey, I didn't answer that question to the best of my ability. And I talked to my wife, and it's all these other things. It's violence in our communities. It's keeping our kids safe in schools. It's all these other things. And it's not necessarily about abortion, but it's about a number of issues that are facing women and moms back at home. And he was the only one to come back and say, hey, I didn't answer that question correctly 100%. And here's what I think about it now. And we're going to work with you on it. And I think that should.
This is actually kind of boring. Hey, you know what's funny though? Like I'm gonna tell y'all about some of the commercials that I'll see for like the New Jersey election that come on my YouTube and stuff. The difference, but so like the Democrat commercials will be like education, jobs, safe state to live. Every single Republican commercial I have seen that comes up on advertisement, all of them are, I love my child, but in New Jersey, the Democrats, if my child's confused about what gender he is, teachers aren't allowed to tell me. Like that's the main thing that they're campaigning on. Like, bro, and you in New Jersey. Like, bro, the Republican, they're so bad. Like, man, because listen, at the end of the day, the economic issues that's really what drives elections. Domestic economic issues. It's like, man, every single advertisement that I have seen of y'all has been, oh, what if my little boy wants to be a girl? Like, what? Y'all are not gonna expand your party like this, but they don't care. That's why they're authoritarian. Abortion rights are on the ballot in Ohio this election day.
It may be an odd-numbered year, but there are still elections happening.
Oh, we gonna be too slow?
This November, and none have captured more attention than.
I would just read it. This year, abortion is literally on the ballot once again, and this time all eyes are on Ohio. So far in 2023, we have less data on how voters are feeling about abortion. More than and this is another big thing that's going to impact, especially House races, because man, the reversal of Roe and all these 6-week bans that Republicans have been putting, that's going to continue to screw them again, especially in House races and stuff like that. Because when people show up to the polls, they're going to be voting along lines like this. Obviously, this election is talking about the 7th of this month, this year. But just as we go forward, that's going to continue to be one of the Republican Party's biggest problems, which has nothing to do with Donald Trump whatsoever. I'm not even talking about Donald Trump and Joe Biden, but this issue is going to continue to kill Republicans in terms of whatever gains they could have gotten. Yeah, no. The closest thing to a vote on abortion rights was an August ballot measure in the Buckeye state that technically dealt with requirements for passing constitutional amendments, but was popularly framed as a battle over abortion. Supporters of abortion rights won that fight, but that was far from the main act. Rather, it was preparation for a November 7th ballot measure that could enshrine abortion rights into Ohio's constitution. Polling indicates that Ohio voters generally support abortion rights, but that doesn't mean the proposed constitutional amendment is guaranteed to pass. The messaging war leading up to next week's election has complicated the question, with opponents framing it as too extreme. Currently, abortion is permitted in Ohio through the first 21 weeks of pregnancy. And they tried to knock that down to 6. The second issue 1 in 4 months. Issue 1, y'all remember that from a couple of months ago. We got J-Pac in the building. What's popping? As Republicans in the Ohio legislature, hold on, my bad. In Ohio, proposed constitutional amendments approved for a statewide vote are listed as issues, as are referenda on laws signed by the governor. Issue 1 is simply a moniker describing issue up for the vote. In August, that issue was a proposed constitutional amendment that required 60% approval from voters, and they was like, nope. As Republicans in the Ohio legislature were pressing for a higher threshold to amend the state constitution, a coalition of groups, including state chapters of the ACLU and Planned Parenthood, was mobilizing to pass a constitutional amendment of their own to enshrine abortion rights in the state constitution. So we gonna keep our eyes on this. Okay, yeah, let's check this out. The polls. Okay, so there's limited public polling. Okay, we'll be sure to keep our eyes on this. We will keep our eyes on it and see what happens, because but again, like I said, that then again, just completely take Trump out of the equation. The reversal of Roe v. Wade was a horrible political move. Horrible. One, first and foremost, it just simply didn't need to happen. And then all these states are like, no, we got to make it so that these bitches can't get abortions no matter what. 6 weeks, unless, of course, I mean, bro, like, and clearly people don't want it, which isn't surprising, but hey. But yeah, no, Republicans are, man, this issue is going to continue to kill them, because it's so extreme. Like, come on, man. Really? Jaya Paul's sister vying for open Oregon seat. Well, they're definitely related. Don't know much about her. Democrat Sushila Jayapal, a former Multnomah County Commissioner and the oldest sister of Rep. Pramila Jayapal, is running for a safe blue House seat in Oregon. Jayapal launched her bid to represent the 3rd District on Wednesday, 2 days after the current occupant Democratic Rep. Earl Blumenauer announced his retirement after nearly 3 decades of progressive activism in the House. Jayapal said she would continue Blumenauer's work if elected. Well, if that's an easy seat, then she'll probably win it, especially since she has a history of being in politics in that state. So, and apparently the what's the name, Blumenauer was a progressive. So I think she has pretty good chances. Distracted Gardener, thank you so much. You said you got a seed launch today. Go ahead. Oh, hell yeah. Go ahead and enjoy that. That sounds like a good time. That absolutely sounds like a good time. Go ahead and enjoy yourself. Thank you so much for joining us today and hope to see you tomorrow. Where were we? Okay, quote. We're at a pivotal point in our country and in our district, she said in a statement kicking off her campaign, with the Republican majority beholden to extremist ideologues attacking our democracy and our rights in ways we've never seen before. It's more important than ever that we have an unwavering progressive voice in Congress to stand up for values and bring us together to create the thriving, equitable community we need. Pramila Jayapal, one of the most progressive Democrats in the House, has represented Washington's 7th district since 2017. Oh, look at them. They West Coast gang. You feel me? Pramila's in Washington. Her sister Sushila is in Oregon. You feel me? They strategically spread out across the western coast of the United States. On Wednesday, she was the first member of Congress to publicly endorse Sushila Jayapal's candidacy. Quote, my incredible sister, Sushila Jayapal, just launched her campaign for Congress. Pramila Jayapal posted on X, formerly Twitter. I couldn't be more excited to share this news and this cute photo of us from back in the day with you. Looking at 1970. Oh, look at him. Fresh off the porch. You feel me? Fresh off the boat, fresh off the porch. How it went down. You know what I'm saying? Young OGs before they was OGs, ready to take on life, ready to pass progressive policies and fight for the people. Look at it. Okay, I see. If elected, Pramila and Sushila Jayapal will be the second set of sisters to serve together in the House. Loretta and Linda T. Sanchez made history in 2003 when they became the first. The two California Democrats were House colleagues until 2017 when Loretta Sanchez left to make an unsuccessful run for Senate. Sushila Jayapal, an attorney who was born in India and raised there. Oh, yep. See, look at that. Like I said, fresh off the boat. They was fresh off the boat, ready to take over. She was raised there as well as in Singapore and Indonesia, emphasized her experience as an immigrant, a woman of color, and a mother. Quote, I'm ready to continue that work as someone with a proven record of accomplishments, passion for service, and the ability to get things done. And I'll do it in partnership with our community, she said. The district, which includes most of Portland, is dominated by Democrats. Jayapal is the first declared candidate in the race, but other Democrats are expected to jump in. Inside Elections, Aaron Colby reported. Jayapal released a list of endorsements from state and local leaders and elected officials. As county commissioner, Jayapal has focused on homelessness, economic justice, public safety, and caring for vulnerable populations, according to her constituent newsletter. She stepped down from the position Wednesday. I think she probably has a very good chance of doing well. All right. But yeah, man, I mean, like the longer, I don't really see how 2024 is any presidential election wise. I don't see how it's really any different than 2020, except this time Donald Trump looks even more like he shouldn't be in office, and Biden is just someone people got to deal with until 2028. You feel me? Like, because at the end of the day, unless somebody takes Joe Biden out in the primaries, which a couple of people have entered them, but other than that, that's our only bet. And with a whole year left of Donald Trump doing the crap that he does every day, people gonna show up to the polls for the same general things that they show up for. It's the same thing all over again. There's like no difference, except what's more interesting is what's happening in smaller races because of the reversal of role. Like, what is wrong with you idiots? Vote to expel embattled Rep. George Santos from Congress expected Wednesday. My man said, I am not resigning. The man, the myths, the lessons. What is this? Oh, they got 23 minutes of this.
You talk about that? Make some space, and then we'll address.
If I had to describe George Santos, would be a charismatic liar.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm?
Do you have any statements here? Do you have anything to say?
Explain what happened here.
I'm not going to discuss an ongoing investigation.
Support and defend the Constitution.
Anything about the money, the investigation?
I have no comments for you.
Of the United States against all enemies.
George Santos is a con artist.
He's been lying about pretty much everything.
I had no idea that he was a total fraud.
So help you God.
It's the greatest fiction in the history of congressional.
I knew he was a fraud, but I didn't know he was a total fraud.
Nonsense. It's all a lie.
Santos has got to be expelled. He was elected under false pretenses. How dare you lie to this community? Do you feel like you're qualified to serve in this Congress?
There should be a law against a criminal serving in an elected office.
It's really quite disgraceful.
Should step down.
How can he be trusted to be a lawmaker when he breaks the law?
Did you raise money for a puppy?
He allowed my dog to die. He's a horrible, evil person.
Where does this end? How much is actually tied up with this? That is sort of what it's been like reporting on George Santos.
I've been in politics over 50 years. I've never seen a story ending like Santos. There's nobody who is this off.
We have an indictment. It's a witch hunt.
The very first day that I met him, he was very charismatic, very friendly. He was very friendly with everyone. I was 21 at the time. He was 22, 23.
I met him with the name Anthony because that's what his family called him.
Right off the bat, I noticed he was kind of fabricating like his life, that he was somebody that came from a privileged background, with family that had money, with family that had expensive property.
I didn't even know that that this documentary was down here, but it's not that long, so we gonna finish it.
A minha primeira impressão foi a melhor possível. Nós sempre nos demos muito bem, ele era uma pessoa alegre. Anthony era sonhador, muito sonhador. Dentro dos sonhos dele existia sempre tudo com muito luxo, porque ele era uma pessoa que ele gostava de luxo.
He would let to me that he was working as a reporter, that he was working as a freelancer, as a model, or doing some other jobs that it's not the case, and they could clearly see that he didn't have any job at all.
Somebody that's 22, 23 years old that has all these properties with his family is not going to go work at a call center in the middle of nowhere, Queens, for $12 an hour.
I didn't actually ask him personally how much money he had in his account, but of course I could definitely see that they were struggling to pay rent. At some point, they even allowed the internet to be cut for non-payment.
Ele mentiu para mim quando ele pegou o meu CPF, usou para comprar uma joia para a irmã dele. Ele jurou até o fim que ele tinha pago os boletos e ele não pagou.
There was one person where he did tell them that he never graduated. He said, you know, he got a GED.
I told him that my cousin was studying at Baruch College. And then that's when he said, oh, I graduated from Baruch College.
I first met Santos almost exactly 3 years ago. You know, right from the start, I thought he was a weirdo. I thought he was a liar. Nothing fit in the way he described himself. He claimed he was a 31-year-old successful multimillionaire with extensive finance connections in Brazil. Said he was Catholic, he had a cross on his neck. A year or two.
Hell yeah, I know when you pet oh yes, model is definitely crazy. But no, hell, when you pack it with just the perfect, yes, and it hits you just right. Because when you get too much air and not enough smoke, that shit make you cough a lot. And then when it's not enough air, it's like a vacuum and you just can't get nothing. Yes, that perfect mixture always sets it off just right.
Later, when he started calling himself Jewish.
Well, Jewish lasers in space. I'm a Jew, trust me.
I mean, I knew he was lying because I'd already asked him those questions.
There's that scene, I think, in The Godfather where Vito Corleone sort of says to Michael,
Senator Corleone.
you know, I always dreamed of you being a Senator Corleone or Governor Corleone. I think that really speaks to the fact that political office, political power is the ultimate kind of validation. And that is something that a George Santos knows he can offer people because he seemed like such a well-tailored candidate who checked so many boxes.
He's like an Etch-a-Sketch, constantly reinventing himself. He has multiple names and multiple personalities.
Bro, a lot, bro. Do you know how many prominent business Republicans are gonna vote for Joe Biden? Are you serious? I'm off topic from this now, but do you know how many stock market bros are gonna vote for Biden who normally would vote for a Republican? Bro, oh my God, bro. Bro, Donald Trump is going to have the worst campaign anyone has ever seen. And Joe Biden is not popular. He's not hated like Hillary Clinton was, but Donald Trump is, oh my God. And again, we all have to see, but it's just like Republicans have more to gain with Joe Biden than they do with a Republican president. That says a lot, man. That says a lot about Joe Biden and how he's really a conservative. If anything else, that says a lot about that, how Joe Biden's economically conservative. But bruh, like Joe Biden basically is a moderate Republican. That's what he is.
Right, there's George Santos, the congressman. There's George DeVolder, the businessman. There's Anthony DeVolder, the LGBTQ MAGA activist. There's Tiara, the drag queen. There's Jewish descendant of Holocaust survivors. He has an infinite stream of identities. It's just strange.
Yeah, it is, Mike. There's so much shit going on. It's just like there's so much shit, and there's still a whole year left. So it's just like, what the fuck? Like, it's just like every day Donald Trump's just like making things worse for himself, and Biden's got to battle. Biden's got to figure out how he's gonna like brand the conflict overseas, what exactly he's gonna do with Netanyahu and all of that. There's just so much shit going on.
When I met him, he came off as somewhat sophisticated. He told me he was highly successful. He wanted to run. He said that he wanted to represent the people of the district, understood the needs of the people.
George Santos here, Republican candidate for New York's 3rd Congressional District. 2020,
Tom Suozzi's going to run again. It's a strong Democrat district. People were not saying we want to run. We really didn't have anyone in Nassau. At the time, the district went from Queens through Nassau, the North Shore, into Suffolk County. George Santos comes from Queens. He comes out, and we meet him.
I am a first-generation born American, a gay man, and a Republican.
He answered questions. He submitted a resume. He interviewed. Based upon that information, he became the candidate.
A potential upset on the North Shore of Long Island. Republican George Santos is now leading Democratic Congressman Tom Suozzi.
2020, there were a lot of absentee paper ballots.
None of these races has been called because of those absentee ballots.
On Election Day, he won the machine vote by a couple of thousand votes, but there were still 100,000 votes to be counted.
The fact that I closed ahead of a sitting congressman, that speaks volumes.
He immediately proclaimed victory, and he went down to freshman orientation in Washington, D.C.
I attended freshman orientation.
Hello, everyone. I'm Congressman-elect Richie Torres.
And he approached me and said, even though you're a Democrat and I'm Republican, we're both gay, and I hope we can work together. And I just found it to be so strange that I said, sure, and then I left.
Everyone in the world knew that he was going to lose overwhelmingly.
Also in Long Island, Democrat Thomas Suozzi has won his re-election bid for New York's 3rd Congressional District.
And when the final results came in 3 weeks later, he didn't just lose, he lost by 15 points, and he lost by 60,000 votes. He then decided he wanted to run again and declared immediately. And then he got weirder and weirder. He would brag wildly about his Maseratis, about his mansions, none of which existed.
I have the business background, I have the acumen. I think this is a great time for Americans to know I'm a gay Republican. My party overwhelmingly supports me.
I want to fight for common sense and safety for our communities. Very nice to meet you, man. I'm George Santos, by the way. I'm running for U.S. Congress, and I'm focused on winning and delivering results.
But after he got the nomination, the New York Court of Appeals changed the district lines and made it much more winnable for a Republican. And he was there. We were stuck with him.
The lines changed the district dramatically. Still has Nassau and Queens, but instead of going over the water through the Bronx, which is heavily, heavily Democrat, it now comes down from the North Shore through Levittown and Massapequa, both Republican communities. So now the district becomes winnable.
There were so many races going on in Nassau County. So George Santos was the least of our concerns.
I will think about that every day of my life. Our election, like all the elections in New York,
were drowned out by the governor's race.
When you're looking at the total picture of the last election in New York, it's very hard to see George Santos being in Congress right now if Lee Zeldin were not at the top of the ticket and performing so well on Long Island, and Kathy Hochul doing pretty poorly. That was, I think, the determining factor more than anything else.
We hit him very hard on the opposition research we could prove.
He can say and mislead the audience and everybody watching at home to whatever he wants. At the end of the day, I stand proud in my record.
Despite the fact George Santos lied about it, he was at the insurrection January 6th.
I was at the Ellipse on January 6th.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol.
And the president was at his full awesomeness that day.
Even though he tried to lie about it in the campaign, insurrectionists raided the Capitol, and George Santos tragically was there.
The misleading things he keeps saying about me that I did or did not do, or the locations I've been or I've been not.
He compared abortion to slavery.
When we look at the American past and we look at slavery, we think it was barbaric. We aborted our own? That is barbaric.
We raised the alarm as loud as we could.
So there was a post where he was sharing a GoFundMe about a dog that had a tumor, and he was asking people to donate.
A disabled U.S. Navy veteran whose service dog needed emergency surgery.
She was my little Sapphire. She was a little red pit bull, and she was about 8 or 10 weeks old, I think, when I got her. And I was homeless at the time, and I had really bad depression. Whenever I'd start getting really manic, she would just be all over me. I couldn't ignore her. She'd climb on me, lick my face. She was my little buddy. And that was a time when I actually noticed that she was starting to get that growth, getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So I took her in, and the vet tech probably saw my face just drop when I heard $3,000. And she pulled me aside after the vet left the office, and she said, I know this guy who does charities, and I'll talk to this guy, Anthony, that I know, Anthony DeVolder, and he's really good at it, and due to his network, there's gonna be a lot of people willing to help you. He'll set up a GoFundMe, and hopefully within a couple of months, we'll have this $3,000, and we'll be able to get this surgery taken care of. Should be no problem. Within a couple of months, I think it was 3 months, we actually had the whole $3,000. The money never came through. I should have known at the time, but I was desperate. It was horrible. I couldn't do anything for her. And then one day that she just refused to get up and move anymore, to go outside, and I knew I had to take her in to have her put down. I was screaming at the top of my lungs like a banshee, just wailing with the pain.
It breaks my heart because this is somebody that fought for our country, and he already was suffering from PTSD. And then to lose his dog was just too much.
He helped with the fundraising. He used Ostov and his service dog as a vehicle to attract charitable contributions. And then Santos stole all the money, cut off all communications, and disappeared.
In a tweet today, Santos denied stealing the cash, but Ostov says he never got that money.
Election day in America, and the stakes for the 2022 midterms could hardly be any higher.
Make sure you vote for that good-looking guy, George Santos.
New York became an unlikely battleground.
Republican George Santos defeated Democrat Robert Zimmerman.
I want to make sure you all know that now you have a man of the people who will represent the people in Washington, D.C. and end the nonsense.
He's a serial liar. People in the 3rd Congressional District didn't elect George Santos. They elected a fictional character. George Santos isn't at all what he claimed to be or said that he was.
George Santos doesn't really exist. He isn't anybody. People like him have no real identity. Like George Santos literally doesn't exist.
An investigation by the New York Times claims the resume of Republican Congressman-elect George Santos is largely fabricated.
Did you graduate from there?
Yeah.
So did I.
I did.
Claims that suggest much of his resume, including where he went to college, where he worked, are entirely made up.
Did I embellish my resume? Yes, I did. And I'm sorry.
Do you have any statements here? Do you have anything to say to your colleagues?
Explain what happened here.
I was not shocked because even back then, everything seemed fabricated. It seemed like he was playing a character.
We need Anthony DeVolder. What's his name again?
What we had said about him being a fraud and a fabulist and a pathological liar, all that proved to be true. But I tell you, I was also astonished at how much more there was.
Citigroup and Goldman Sachs say they have no record of him working there.
I didn't outright lie about my work experience.
He was calling people in Nassau County, saying his story is totally a fraud. He wanted a lawyer to sue the Times for libel. It's totally untrue. There's nothing to it. Very emphatic, very angry.
Now everything
that I've ever worked to build on is up in questioning, and that's the very frustrating side.
I said, what's going on? He said, it's all going to be straightened out tomorrow. It's just, they're out to get me. I said, well, what about your college diploma? You have a copy of your diploma? He said, you know what happened? They called Baruch, and I was known as George DeValder, and they asked for George Santos. He said, it'll be straightened out. I'll have a copy of it. I'll get it to you tomorrow. I said, okay, I'll wait to hear from you. I haven't spoken to him since.
Do I wish you a happy Hanukkah or a Merry Christmas?
I'm Catholic, but I'm also Jew-ish, as in ish.
He appeared at menorah lightings the day before the New York Times report came out. There were people at those menorah lightings whose families had been slaughtered, dead in the Holocaust. And he's conning them and using them, and he went to them for money and support.
My mom was a 9/11 survivor. She was in the South Tower, and she made it out.
9/11 claimed my mother's life, tweeted George Santos in July of 21. New immigration records obtained by ABC News prove that on 9/11, Santos's mother, Fatima DeVolder, wasn't even in the United States.
She wasn't even in the country. I'm just going to say this and nobody's going to figure it out.
Was your mother in the World Trade Center on 9/11? Was she?
The sheer depth and breadth of his deception is unprecedented. We've never seen a candidate or a congressman quite like George Santos.
The New York Republicans are calling you a disgrace. You will not resign?
I am calling for his immediate resignation.
Resign.
We must call for the resignation of Congressman George Santos.
Resign.
Steps down.
Step aside.
He should resign.
This joke's gotta go.
Congressman Santos, will you resign? I will not.
It's Shantae Lands with Channel 7. I just wanted to know if there was anything you had to say. I first started covering George Santos on December 17th, but the first time I actually met him was on Capitol Hill. Anything to the voters at all that you might want to say? I was sent there to try to get answers about the, at the time, alleged lies that he may have told to his hundreds of thousands of constituents.
New York 3, Santos free.
Right now, a group of Long Islanders are on a bus headed to D.C. They organized a trip to confront him.
This is a national issue.
If we're not doing this kind of outreach, he will stay there.
They invited me to go. I rode on the bus with them. They were pretty fired up.
How dare you lie to this community? How dare you fabricate your resume to get elected to Congress? How dare you offend our democracy?
When we arrived, we went to his office.
Where are you, George? We all sent emails and nobody got a response, and he's not here to meet with us.
A Vish answered the door and said that he was not available.
Does he have an office or does he have a hideout? What is going on here?
If you are a representative, where are you?
We then went to House Speaker Kevin McCarthy.
We are all so frustrated at the fact that
his constituents organized a field trip to confront him in his office and he wasn't there.
he has not acted.
But he's not going to resign, though.
What are the charges against him?
Well, I mean,
is there a charge against him? You know, in America today, you're innocent until proven guilty.
Despite all the crimes that have been documented, despite all the lies he's acknowledged, no Republican leadership in the House has called for his removal.
You know, I find it outrageous that if
truth over lies, I mean, it is what it is. You feel me? Just check it out.
Federal candidate for public office, for congressional office, can
I can't, you know, I mean, like I'm definitely more left leaning than right leaning, but I'm not, you know, like I don't do things in a way that'll get like audience capture or anything else, but like it's, you know, we do these streams which are kind of fun, but then we also have programs where we talk about other stuff. So like we'll talk about like life issues and then like cool nerd stuff. We'll watch cartoons together and watch like trailer reviews and stuff. So there's a variety of different things that we do on this channel, but for the most part, like it just is what it is. You feel me? And I'm always open to have conversations with people. But I don't consider myself to be like the progressive or the leftist. I'm just Jackson, you feel me? But I'm definitely more left leaning than right leaning for sure. 100%.
win a congressional seat under fundamentally fraudulent pretenses without facing legal consequences. I partnered with Congressman Dan Goldman to file an ethics complaint that has led to the ethics investigation against George Santos.
He said he's more of a chaos encourager. But yeah, there's a lot. There's a variety of different kinds of people here. But I'm definitely relaxed. You feel me? Like I'm not the type of person who's gonna be like, fuck you, because you don't agree with me. You know what I'm saying? Like shit ain't that serious. You know what I mean? We just have a good time here for the most part.
And we hand-delivered the complaint, and we saw him briefly, and he just directed us to leave the complaint at the front desk.
The embattled congressman from Long Island is tonight stepping down from his committee assignments.
Nobody's pressured me to do absolutely anything.
I think it was an appropriate decision that until he can clear everything up, he's off committees right now.
We just got out of conference, and George has voluntarily removed himself from committees as he goes through this process.
The fact that George Santos stepped down from his committees after meeting with Kevin McCarthy.
He gonna take the furniture on his way out.
And so I have a simple question for House Republicans. If he's too compromised and corrupt to be a member of a congressional committee, then it logically follows that he's too corrupt to be a member of Congress.
Try to stick by the Constitution. The voters elected him to serve. If there is a
This is why, what's the name? This is why Bob Menendez really needs to just step down. Like, I mean, go ahead and defend yourself. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead and defend yourself in court. But, you know, like Bob Menendez, the Democratic senator from New Jersey, like, you know, this really hurts the Democratic cause. Like, bro, just go ahead and step down.
concern, he has to go through the ethics, we'll let him move through that.
That motivated me to introduce.
Oh yeah, truth over lies, you definitely welcome. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, all transparency, I'm for sure more left leaning. But again, like the streams that we do during the daytime, it's kind of like news reels. We just have a good time. I got my bong right here. You feel me? We gonna hit it again once this is over. But again, there's other types of stuff that we do where we talk about like just, you know, life issues that really don't have anything to do with politics on my show called Lock Talk. And then on Saturday mornings at 11, you know, we just have fun. We do trailer reviews for stuff. We talk about movies. You know, so there's a lot of stuff that you can do here. Oh, Brandy's on her way out. You have a good one. Have a good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us, and hope to see you tomorrow.
The Santos Act, the Stop Another Non-Truthful Office Seeker Act, which would require federal candidates to certify under oath, under the penalty of perjury, in writing, their employment, military, and educational backgrounds, so that candidates who do lie can finally be held accountable.
Have you supplied any information, sir?
And right now we've got breaking news surrounding embattled Congressman George Santos from New York. He is now facing federal charges.
He has been facing a slew of investigations ranging from campaign finance violations to lying.
Prosecutors have unearthed evidence of potential federal crimes. And the congressman has a date in court.
I'm tired of this, man.
It is tomorrow.
It was
like,
packed,
look at this.
Mostly journalists. We waited for him to come in. This is the first time I've seen him look concerned, nervous, and overwhelmed. And then he sat down. He said a lot of yes ma'ams.
I'm entitled to due process.
He just asked him, you know, if he understood his
You
rights.
You are entitled to due process, but you finna go to prison, my brother. You going to prison. He got 23 felonies, and some of those include him just straight ripping off his constituents' credit cards. So I'm just gonna take thousands of dollars from you. You're just gonna take thousands of dollars from you, but nothing's gonna happen. Nah, bro, you going to prison.
Ultimately pleaded not guilty to the 13 charges.
Santos was released on $500,000 bond.
Santos is facing a total of 13 federal charges.
You're going to prison, bro.
Including
donor fraud, unemployment fraud, and misleading the House of Representatives.
When Congressman Santos came out of court, that's when the chaos really started.
Are you going to run for re-election?
Are you considering resigning now? I remember at one point saying, if you don't give me space, I'm not going to do this.
Everyone, look, if you guys don't behave, there's no way you're going to get information back to the people. So make some space, and then we'll address.
We make our way to the podium.
This is the beginning of the ability for me to address and defend myself. We have an indictment, and I'm going to comply. I've been complying throughout throughout this entire process, the reality is it's a witch hunt.
This is a guy who had nothing,
all fake.
no asset over $5,000 just 18 months earlier.
$750,000. They said that you reported that wrongly. Do you have any comment to that?
Well, like I said, I will be giving them all, will be delivering all the finances of my company, delivering all my finances to them to dispel their accusation against me.
We called it out in the North Shore Leader newspaper and let people know this is what we've seen.
Santos, like all candidates, we try to run a little bit of background on, particularly the campaign finance section.
Mr. Santos either illegally coordinated with an independent expenditure or he illegally received a campaign contribution.
Some of the interesting things that came out was he would spend a lot of money at one restaurant, pay himself and his sister for his PACs.
The funds came legitimately to me via my company.
His PAC was paying his landlord the exact amount for his rent.
I did my work where I earn my living, how I pay my bills.
Politicians often, you will find, have a hard time making an honest living and finding regular work. It's sort of why they're politicians.
This has been blown out of proportion because of reporters from organizations like the Daily Beast who like to create this kind of rhetoric.
What we can certainly say about George Santos.
Bro, why did this dude, why did he run? Why did he want to be a member of Congress? Like, bro, you should have just did your thing and not in a public life.
Those is that he's a liar.
Remember, these are allegations that the federal government's putting forward. So right now, he is still innocent until he's proven guilty.
And again, you will not resign.
I will not resign.
He should resign. I've
Yeah,
said that
bro, you should
repeatedly.
resign.
And obviously, these charges confirm what I've said from the beginning.
There's a clock ticking, and George Santos should have resigned in December. He should have resigned in January. He should have resigned yesterday, and maybe he'll resign today.
All of his Long Island Republican colleagues, all of them have came out vocally and said, Congressman Santos should step down.
Breaking news out of Washington, D.C., where a resolution has just been introduced to expel Congressman George Santos from office.
My intent to raise a question of the privileges of the House. Representative George Santos be, and he hereby is.
All right, we good. Hold up, we gotta let's see. Hold up, we got a couple minutes.
Expelled from the House of Representatives.
This is actually the second time Garcia
Delegation have called upon him to resign.
Go ahead and get him out. Bob Menendez needs to resign too. Bob Menendez, go ahead and drop out. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, I didn't even. No, he did. He took one of the donors' credit cards. I'm just gonna spend $11,000. Nothing's gonna happen. Like, come on, bro. Come on, man. But yes, thank you everybody for joining me so much on this wonderful Wednesday live stream. Had a very good time. We found additional things to discuss. It went quite well. It went quite well indeed. This Saturday, we're going to have another Saturday morning episode of Nerd News. It's going to be good. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to it. Don't know exactly what we're going to be talking about yet, but we're definitely going to do some trailer reviews, talk about some cool stuff, and also what we're going to do is, I don't know what cartoons we're going to watch yet. But the thing that we're going to start doing is putting while we're running the show, we'll put like a poll up for viewers to be like, okay, how you want to close the show? What's going to be our Saturday morning cartoon that we watch today? And then the viewers will pick it and then we'll check it out. Last Saturday, we watched The Tick, which was hilarious. We watched commercials from 1995, which were hilarious. And this Saturday, I don't know exactly what it is that we're going to check out, but it's going to be a good time. So join us on Saturday. Now let's take this hit and then go on about our days. It's still the afternoon. It's Wednesday. Let's have a good one. Woo! Quite significant. All right. Actually, we was looking at Metalocalypse. We may have to do that. We have Metalocalypse pulled up, Jenny Jupiter. We may have to do that. Good idea. All right, everybody. Thank you so much again for joining me. Thank you so much for your continued support, belief, and encouragement. it's really carrying me forward. It means a lot. And I'm really looking forward to, again, the real world work that we can do together, pushing forth public city council initiatives. I'm really looking forward to that because it matters. It makes a difference. And no matter what it is that you lean on the political spectrum, it's something that you can get behind. So y'all have a good afternoon, and